Hello, everybody. Rhett Lewis alongside the XO Maestros, our Super Bowl champs. Coach
You're
Brian
the X,
Billick.
I'm the O?
I think
You're
that's
the
how it
Vice,
works.
I'm the Stro.
Yeah, hugs and kisses.
Shaun O'Hara is the jokester, and we are ready for our Game of the Week presented by IHOP. That's where we begin today, as we always do.
Yum.
And this week, it's the Chiefs and Broncos, once dubbed the no-fly zone. That Broncos secondary no longer flying high after allowing Derek Carr to complete 91% of his passes in Week 2 and Joe Flacco to throw for near 300 last week. The message from head coach Vance Joseph: our entire back end has to play better versus the pass. Well, maybe not the best time then to welcome the league's most lethal big play pass game to town. After setting a record for the most TD passes through the first 3 weeks, Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs QB, would need just 4 more versus Denver to set the record for the first month of the season. And check out the numbers for Mahomes. That 137.4 passer rating, yet tops in the league. And you know what else goes along pretty well with that 13 touchdown pass number? 0 interceptions. That is fewest in the league. And those 13 touchdown passes have gone to 9 different receivers, Coach, for Patrick Mahomes. And they've come in a variety of different ways. We've seen the speed shuffle. We've seen him throw a dart on the run to Chris Conley in the corner of the end zone. But can he beat the Broncos from the pocket if he has to?
Yeah, and that's really the ultimate test for a quarterback. I love all the other things they're doing, but ultimately you're going to win a championship from the pocket. And Pat Mahomes looks like he can do just that. And let me show you what I'm talking about, the subtlety of what he's able to do. Now, to start with, I want you to watch this free safety, okay? He's going to mess with Mahomes here a little bit, go to the middle, but ultimately he's going to come out in a 2 deep, which means the open area he's got to see on the run right now is in this 20 yards down the field, 20, 25 yards, going away from the hash. He does a perfect job. Now, this is the one I really like when you talk about a pocket presence. I don't know what scared him off right away from Tyreek Hill. I don't know if it was the pressure coming in here, but for whatever reason, he didn't throw the ball. So he starts to bail. Now, what does a typical young quarterback do at this point, Shaun? He'll bail off and take off, right?
Yeah.
Watch what Mahomes does. He sets back. Look at the way he sets his feet to hit a wide open Tyreek Hill. Now, this one's really subtle, and this is what I really like. You're going to see against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I want you to watch as he gets back to the top. Again, I want you to watch this safety right up in here, the way he climbs down to take the tight end route. But look what Mahomes does. He sees that, and I want you to watch where he puts this ball. He puts it on the back hip to save his tight end from getting beat up by the safety. So it's those subtle kind of moves, that subtle kind of reading from the pocket that I think is differentiating him from a lot of other young quarterbacks. And that list you talked about, when the number 2 and 3 guys on the all-time list is Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, that's a pretty good group.
You're doing something right. I'm not surprised by the touchdowns because Andy Reid's offense, he does a great job, especially early on in the season. But I am a little surprised that no interceptions, especially with a young quarterback. He doesn't have a lot of game experience in the NFL. That speed sometimes can be a factor, but no doubt his arm strength is making up for a lot of that.
Yeah, and so what are they going to do? What do the Broncos do? Well, you got to get pressure on them. And more importantly, you got to get pressure on them with a 4-man rush. You bring that 5th, 6th guy with all the talent they have, with Kelsey and Hill, it's going to kill you. So let's take a
The Chiefs have done a good job with the pocket and with the pass protection.
Let's look right here against another pretty good quarterback in Russell Wilson. And what I want you to watch here is I want you to watch the discipline of the defensive ends as they come in. They stay upfield. If you're going to run, you got to step up into the pocket. You can see that's going to happen. But now Von Miller, he comes collapsing in. Big hit on Russell Wilson. Now, here's a nice subtle one as well you're going to see. What are you going to do? I'm going to show you a 6-man front. That means your protection schemes are going to get gobbled up. You anticipate not having any one-on-one matchup. But what happens? They come out of it, and they end up with just a 4-man rush. And what do? They do a good job of keeping upfield. They make them turn back into it, and there you get another sack. So I think if they're going to have an effect on Mahomes and all that talent he's got around him, they've got to be able to get home. And certainly with Chubb and Von Miller, they can do that. They've got to get home with a 4-man rush because if you have to bring more people, could be a problem.
Mitchell Schwartz, the right tackle. It's a tough job to go one-on-one against Von Miller. He's done a good job in his career, but now if you ask the tight end to help out, now you're taking Kelsey out of the passing game.
And for the Broncos, offensively, not nearly as prolific as their counterparts for the Chiefs here. Case Keenum, under 200 yards passing last week, hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 weeks. Where does this offense improve this week?
The Broncos' offense was the worst in the red zone all of last year. 12 sacks, 3 interceptions. That's why Case Keenum came, because he was phenomenal in the red zone with Minnesota. Let me show you a couple of throws, and here's how he's made some mistakes in Denver. All right, this is trips right formation right here, right, Coach? Now he's got man coverage across the board here, so it's a good read from that standpoint. But this throw right here, I don't like the matchup. You know why? Because that's a corner. That's Rashawn Melvin on a tight end. Now, Jake Butt's going to run a little inside route right here, and Case Keenum's going to let this ball fly. And he's throwing this ball right here, and he's trying to fit it in before this safety right here can make a play. Only problem is, it's a tight squeeze. It's a tight window. It's a risky throw. Rashawn Melvin, as I mentioned, a corner, he can make a play on that. If that was a linebacker, maybe that's a touchdown. Maybe it's a more advised throw. All right, so there's a turnover that you can't have because it takes points off the board. This one right here is tough because all of a sudden you've got a pick route, not a rub route. This is a pick, and you'll see what I mean when the play develops. This is an easy throw right here for Case Keenum, Coach. This is exactly how you draw it up. I want you to watch this play develop. And right here, I mean, you got to put this ball on him. It's got to go
Give him a chance to catch it in the end zone.
Instead, he throws it wide. That should have been a touchdown right there. It's one he'd like to have back. Now, for Case Keenum, you got to take care of the football. You can't throw those interceptions. You can't miss the easy throws if you want to keep up with Mahomes.
Well, and Keenum, the key for him is he has to recognize that, particularly he gets down in the red zone. If this becomes a track meet with the Kansas City Chiefs, which it could be with the way Mahomes is playing, that you can't trade field goals for touchdowns. So this game may very well come down to who's going to blink first. And you know Kansas City's pretty good. Yeah. They can't settle for field goals when they get down in the red zone.
You mentioned a track meet. How do you slow down a good offense? You run the football. Well, the Denver Broncos have done a great job of that with some young running backs. Now, Coach, you know young running backs, they always want to bounce the ball outside. Well, I think that you look at this play right here. This is P10 trap, okay? They're going to pull this guard right here and block this three technique, and both the guard and the tackle are going to get up on the second level. Now, a lot of young running backs will try to bounce a play, but look at this run right here, and I want you to just watch right here. Phillip Lindsay, just take this little A gap right here and make a big run. That's not easy for young running backs to see. They always want to bounce it. This is a single back power play, and what you're going to get is you're going to get a double team at the point of attack right here. 4 hands on the down man, 4 eyes on the backer, and they're going to pull this guard right up here on this backer. And a lot of times running backs will try to bounce the ball outside. Well, I want you to watch what Royce Freeman does right here. All right, he reads this. He's patient right here. And now all of a sudden, here is your running lane. He waits for that. Young running backs, it takes them time to learn that a lot of the big runs come in the A-gap. If they can keep that up, Rhett, Coach, they can keep the possessions limited for Mahomes and slow down that pass.
Kansas City is last in the league in defense, and that's not fair necessarily when your offense is performing that well. Everybody comes in and has to throw a lot to keep up. There's a bunch of chump change. But I think the Kansas City defense is vulnerable, particularly in the physical game that you're talking about.
Third best run game in the league for the Broncos. It's kind of been their saving grace since Keenum's passer rating, 27 points lower than it was a year ago with the Vikings.
Well, Rhett, the L.A. Rams took care of business, manhandling their brothers in L.A., the Chargers, and it's because of those big boys up front. Andrew Whitworth, Roger Saffold, John Sullivan, Austin Blythe, and Rob Havenstein. 171 yards rushing. They got Todd Gurley, his 13th 100-yard game. Things are looking pretty good for the Rams when you're averaging 7.2 yards a game. And Goff had 3 touchdowns. How about this week, Rhett? I'm looking forward to watching the Green Bay Packers as they take on the Buffalo Bills. Yes, those Buffalo Bills that manhandled the Vikings offensive line. That guy right there, Brian Bulaga. The left tackle, David Bakhtiari. They're going to have their hands full against Jerry Hughes, who leads the league right now in pressures. He's got 20. He had 13 last week against Minnesota. They sacked Case Keenum 4 times. Pressures on them to protect AR.
And for more information on last week's best O-line, go to NFL.com/Ford. And now let's take a closer look at that Vikings-Rams matchup inside the TNF film room with Shaun and Coach.
Vikings taking on the Rams. Coach, you had an up-close and personal look at this game. You were there. They got off to an awful start. How do they avoid that against the Rams?
Yeah, they're going to need to do it differently. I was at the game, and nothing was right emotionally, mentally in that game from Jump Street. And I think it began with the pressure they were able to get on Kirk Cousins.
3 early turnovers.
Yeah, and that set the whole tone. You're going to see right here, Alexander steps up and covers up the guard. So he's gobbling up the protection. That means Reef, the tackle, and the running back, they're one-on-one. And they don't handle this combination, this little stunt by the linebackers of the Buffalo Bills, and you get a strip sack. This led to the very first score. Now you're going to see the same thing with the left tackle and the right guard. I want you to grade these techniques, Shaun.
Yeah.
Because watch the way these guys get turned, and they're just one-on-one. They get their shoulders turned immediately. Well, that's just a short edge. Both these guys are going to have a staff meeting at the quarterback. And again, here's another hit on Cousins.
Can't give up that inside pressure, Coach.
Let's look at the effect that it has on a Kirk Cousins. This is Adam Thielen. He runs this route 1,000,000 times a year. They at least do it 2-3 times a game. Just that deep crossing route. I want you to look how wide open he is. He's got lots of air in front of him. This is going to be a big play, and they needed this big play to get back in it. Look at the protection for Kirk Cousins. It couldn't get any cleaner, but watch where the ball goes. He's been hitting this thing spot on the first couple of weeks, and now it's totally off target. So clearly the pressure that they were able to get on Kirk Cousins early set the tone. I don't know if the Rams, they've got a great front four. They're only 29th in the league in sacks, but I think they're going to be able to put a little bit more pressure on, and hopefully they're looking for the same result against Cousins and the Vikings.
The Bills ran a lot of zone defense, and as you mentioned, got that pressure. I'll be curious to see how Wade Phillips handles that, losing their two corners. Does he play a little zone, less man-to-man? For the Rams on offense, obviously, boy wonder, Sean McVay, he's a genius with all these big play designs, and they've got the best scoring offense since 2017. But a lot of it is because of the red zone, and it's simple. It's a two-man route right here. All right, all Goff has to do is read that defender, Coach. This is just a simple read right now. Arizona's late getting lined up, but that corner doesn't run with the tight end here, so he's wide open. Higbee for an easy touchdown. It's great design because it's simple. Here is the same exact formation, just flipped. They're going to motion to trips left, Coach, give the defense something to look at pre-snap, but it's the same route combination. And now the Chargers say, hey, I saw this last week. I'm not going to fall for it. We're going to cover the tight end. It's an easy read for Goff. He's reading that linebacker. As soon as he runs out, I know I've got a soft zone right here that Woods is going to sit down in. Easy throw for Goff. The design is great. The execution is even better. Now here's the same personnel, same formation, just different route combination. Again, just a one-man read for Goff. All he's got to do is read that corner. If he plays passive, I've got the pivot route underneath. It's an easy pitch and catch. If that corner drives on him, he's got the corner route in the back of the end zone. I love this Rams offense. I love what they're doing. They're finishing drives. And in this game, it's going to come down to that.
Yeah, big matchup here in the AFC North, Ravens and the Steelers. And boy, the Ravens, 12 possessions, 12 touchdowns in the red zone. Insane efficiency there, Coach. How do they keep that up this week against the Steelers?
Yeah, obviously they're number one in the league in red zone offense, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are number 3. And these are usually one-score games. So red zone offense, that's going to be the key. Who blinks first? Well, how are you good in the red zone? You got to have the trifecta. What is that? Well, Joe Flacco knows one. I got to be able to throw the ball down in the end zone. You got 4 cross matchup here. He knows he's got the matchup he wants on the outside. And now I want you to look at the timing of this and where he puts the ball. We used to put trash cans in the corner of the end zone to practice this throw. He's got a guy in his face, and he delivers it absolutely perfect for the score. All right, so serve. You got to be able to throw in from the outside and get big scores. What next? You got to be able to run the ball. They do a great job. I want you to watch what the running back does here with great blocking. It's 22 personnel. The tight end kicks down. That's a fullback that also plays defensive line in Ricard.
Bring in the muscle.
Now, more importantly, watch what happens with the running back. After the initial contact, he gets an additional 4-5 yards. That's what you've got to be able to do to be good in the red zone. And what's the last part of the trifecta? You got to be able to make yards after the catch. Nice little slip route to the outside. They collapse the coverage down, and so he gets the ball. He turns it up quickly, nice even throw, and gets it down to the 1-yard line. So they got it going with the big plays down the field, running the ball, yards after the catch.
And now let's get to the Bengals-Falcons matchup. After accounting for 0 touchdowns in Week 1, Matt Ryan has rebounded with 9 total TDs the last 2 weeks. 3 just last week to rookie wideout Calvin Ridley, with no win to show for it against the Saints. And you certainly can't blame the offense for that, Sean. They're averaging over 34 points a game, over 420 yards a game the last 2 weeks. So after taking some criticism, certainly seems like Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator, kind of pushing the right buttons.
Yeah, this offense has gotten explosive. Steve Sarkisian should get credit. They're the best 1 and 2 team in the league right now, and they're using all kinds of different toys. And I love what they've done with Calvin Ridley. Look, he's a young guy. They're trying to build his confidence. Watch this little dig route, just a deep in route. Rhett, you ran this at Indiana, right? Not a big deal, but he's great with the routes. But here's what it's doing. Steve Sarkisian, he's setting up the next play. This is the very next play, and the corner's going to jump all over this stutter go right here. Calvin Ridley does a great job with his route. It's a great throw, but this is when you know you're playing, you got your A game. When you're calling a great play, coach, and when the players are executing it just as you drew it up. So now you got Calvin Ridley that they got to worry about, and now people start to forget about Julio. I don't know how you can forget about a guy with this kind of speed, but this graphic right here is showing you not just how fast he is, but how far he has run down the field before he even looks up. He hasn't looked up. Still hasn't looked up yet. He doesn't look up until right now. I mean, this ball is halfway down the field. He knew in the huddle this is a go route. He's so fast he even knocked the referee over. It's almost not fair if you're Matt Ryan right now. All he's got to do is just throw the ball down the field, let Julio run under it. The saying right now is like Joker said to Batman, where does he get those wonderful toys?
Yeah.
And I think right now for the Falcons, 34 points per game in the last 2 weeks, they're going to win a lot more games.
All right, back here on Playbook, where for Buffalo Bills fans, any view of their win in Minneapolis felt pretty darn good, especially though this true view video of a touchdown pass here from Josh Allen to the wide open Jason
Where's
Crow.
the defense?
They did not show up on that day en route to a 27-6 Bills win. Josh Allen, a pair of touchdowns, a pair of picks as well. Sam Darnold, a little bit lower in the passer rating. He's got the 5 interceptions. Rosen came on in limited duty last week in their loss to the Browns. And for Baker Mayfield, a perfect 100 in the passer rating category. And for Browns fans, Sean, they got to feel like their fortunes have turned around as quick as a Baker pass can reach Jarvis Landry.
TD maker, Baker.
Yeah, Baker,
like
the
that,
touchdown maker. Browns fans are used to seeing a lot of zeros, just not in a good way. I think it's interesting he has a 100 passer rating, and he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet. So, yeah, they'll be calling him Baker, the touchdown maker. I love his decision-making. I love his ability to read defenses, and I think it showed up on Thursday night. Now, he's had 10 days to prepare for the Oakland Raiders, which is not good for Paul Gunther, but this is what I thought he saw really well. He saw the blitz, and you see him right here recognize, hey, I've got one extra defender. I can't pick him up. This ball's coming out, and it's on a rope. From arm to receiver, there's not a lot of time, so he's got a great arm. Now, this is where I thought he was really comfortable. Shotgun. He's running this college offense just like he did in Oklahoma. He's got 6 defenders, only 5 to block. This is that RPO, and I think he's got great ball handling mechanics right here. You could see he reads the defender coming off the slot, and this ball comes out quick. It's like that quick turn from shortstop throw to first base. He's got that, and he's got it with accuracy. Now, this was a big-time throw right here in the game to his boy Juice. He's got an unblocked defender coming down the bow, and he knows he's got a tight window here. But he can fit this in because the defender's got his back to him. He does a great job of reading that and giving a ball that his guy can go up and make a play on. That's what you love. Bless him, Juice. If you got a quarterback that can just go it up there. Hey, if I'm Juice, I love the fact that I got a shot at making a catch like that. I got a quarterback that can deliver. I think Baker Mayfield's going to light it up, and I think he's going to have a bunch of touchdowns.
The key is, can he be that aggressive Baker Mayfield that we know? In college, he had better than 35 touchdowns every year, and the most interceptions he ever threw was 8. So, yeah, he's not going to be afraid to throw it out like that. The key is, can he now keep the interceptions down as well now that he's in the NFL?
So Baker will make his first start this week against Oakland. Josh Rosen will make his first career start this weekend as well. And he kind of came on, kind of thrown right into the fire for his debut. What do you want to see him do better against the Seahawks?
Tough start, but what I'm always telling you guys about rookie quarterbacks, they can only throw what they see. That's what they're used to in college. Well, that caught up with, obviously, with Josh Rosen in the game because he when he could throw, when he could see, you're going to see here at the bottom, this is real simple. They rotate the coverage inside. He sees he's one-on-one on the outside. The timing is good. He gets the ball on a little stop route, about a 10-yard stop route out here. The timing's perfect. It's clean. He throws it, and he gets a big play. So he says, well, I do that one side, I couldn't do the other. Same thing. A little more clouded up at the top. What do? They rotate out of it. Watch how the corner goes one-on-one. Free safety's in the middle of the field, so he knows it's free safety. He kind of rotates to the weak side, so he knows, okay, great, I can throw this out to the outside. I can do this all day. But now you're in the NFL, young man. Watch what happens. I think what I see is, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to watch this safety. They're not going to let me throw that out there. Look at him buzz to the outside receiver. Well, I'm not going to throw it there. I'm going to go inside. You got to see where everybody is.
Baited him.
They end up getting this pick 6 on the inside. So that's the transition for him. Now, you take go ahead. Sam Darnold's the next one.
Yeah.
You know, this is a guy, he's been starting more, right? So he's a little more in tune to making the subtle plays. Watch what he does here. He's got to move to the outside. Now, I want you to watch what he does. See that little shoulder jerk right there? He got the safety to jump out to make him think he was going to jump that inside route, and now he's got that big vertical. Almost a little late, almost underthrew it. But now you can see a guy, unlike a Sam Rosen, or Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold's had a little bit more time. He's made a few more mistakes. Now he's doing some of the little subtle things that you see from a quarterback.